Okay, so I skated today and did not fuck myself over by forgetting to turn on the location before starting. So I skated 7 miles and got all 7 miles in and accounted for on the app. A little annoyed since my one dog walking app basically crapped out. And I've started using the same app I use for skating. Now I can't track how often I skate like I could before. And before it was, if I flipped up and it said 16 miles for the week, that meant it was 16 miles skating. And now I don't know because I use it for walking and those are never consistent amounts. But it is what it is, I guess. Thought about seeing if there's some way to delete. Well, I don't know, it's just deleting the account on the other one to start all over. But it might be worth messing around with again. Last time I deleted it from my phone, it kept all my information because I didn't. I still had my same email address in there. I want to come up with a new email address just to use the one walking app, so that's a little. I don't know. So. Past couple days, kind of some silly shit. Yesterday, I have some feelings about yesterday. So, day before yesterday, my mom says that my aunt and uncle are going to be coming over to the house yesterday, right? And she was up late that night, and the thing that I knew that she did was vacuum out the lint trap on the dryer. I figured since she did that much, surely she was doing something else on the cleaning end since she had the vacuum cleaner out. But then when I got up yesterday morning, the vacuum cleaner was still plugged in. The vacuum was it was like over in the family room, but clearly had not been used in the family room. And I think the lint trap was all that got cleaned out. But there was a message for me that since we're having company coming, please help out around the house, right? Now, as I've been talking many times lately about how I've had stuff I needed to do and was just kind of dragging my feet about doing it, it lined up well enough. I did what I needed to do, finally got the bathroom cleaned, and got the living room way straightened up. So it's not the big pile of clutter in the middle of the room like it was previously. And then the damnedest thing, they just never came home. I mean, they eventually did, but I got a message while I was being productive, and I was wanting to get to doing a video, which again, they don't know anything about my whole YouTube thing, nor do I want them to anytime soon. Honestly, if they stay oblivious to it until I move out and get far, far away and then they can't find me, that would be okay too, because otherwise they're just going to annoy me to death with it. Because I talk about them a lot on here. But I end up getting voluntold to go get Gracie. And as I've said many times, the kid's not going to get screwed over on account of me and my brother fighting with our mom, right? And so I stop and go get Gracie. I think the only thing I didn't do before I left was mop the living room, which that had to be done because Gidget in all her glory, she loves to play ball as much as possible and then dip her toes in the water bowl when she comes inside and leave muddy paw prints everywhere. So it needed some help. So I helped it. But not until I got back with Gracie. But I also got a message at one point with my mom wanting me to meet her at my brother's house to... Oh, that's kind of cool. Hold on. So yeah, I saw that guy over there when I was skating. He had his truck over in the lot. I usually cut through in between the school lots. Didn't know exactly what he was doing. He was just standing there for the longest time, and I thought he was done doing whatever he'd done, but I did not see him out there doing that before. But anyway, so I got Gracie because my mom and dad didn't think they were going to be back in time to get her because they stopped for food on the way back home from my cousin's house and had my aunt and my grandma with them. So she said something about meeting over at my brother's house and meeting up with my aunt and uncle over there because they were getting a recliner off of my brother, and then we're going to come to our house for dinner after. I get Gracie back to the house over here, and all is fine and dandy. They're home. Apparently, they've been bickering all day. Not my problem. I didn't really care about it. And I just tried to stay out of it, right? And give them their space. But the love seat, the leg on it is temporarily jacked up. It's nothing that can't be repaired, but there's like a metal piece that the leg screws into that came out from the base of the couch, so it has to be like worked on. And I called my mom in there to show her that, and she was all excited and, oh, thank you so much for cleaning up the living room and all that kind of stuff, and acting like it was a really big help kind of a thing. And as they were getting ready to go over to my brother's house, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go. It's like, I'm going to stay here. And like I said, since they don't know about the YouTube thing, that they didn't, I wasn't telling them what I was doing. But yeah, did a video instead. Even watched most of the video to make sure, or to figure out who I needed to tag or whatever in the description before they were back. And I think I had like 10 minutes left of the video before they actually got back. But in all that time today, or yesterday, you know, my mom had some time after she and my dad got back, where she also didn't clean, even though I was just helping. Right? I didn't know I was doing it all. Well, I did know. I was supposed to do it all, and just, it was all supposed to be great when they got back. I did the stuff that directly affected me or pertained to me because it had my stuff in it. The living room and the kitchen are the two rooms I probably spend the least amount of time in currently, because that's usually where my parents are hanging out, and I have no interest in being around them more than I absolutely have to. So while she was there, she didn't do anything on that end. And, you know, she had a good 35 minutes anyway. She could have cleared off the table, or, I don't know, put the vacuum up or whatever. I unplugged it and flipped the cord in there. You know, she might have needed it again. I didn't need it for the stuff I was doing, because there was laminate flooring in all the rooms that I was working on. So she saw even that I had cleaned the front room, and yet when my aunt and uncle got there after, you know, I don't know what they did, but they didn't get there until a little bit after my parents pulled in, which was fine, because my mom called me when I was watching the video back and said that they would probably be there before they got back and let them in and blah blah blah, which, duh. I mean, come on. Do you really need to tell me to let my aunt and uncle, who are supposed to be visiting for the evening, in the house? That seems silly. But that's how things are. So when they get back, she could have brought them in through the front door. because that goes straight into the cleanest room in the house. She did not. They bring them in through the garage, which is a real hot mess, and no cars can go in it currently because they had to clear everything out of the camper. So now there's not even space for the car to park in there right now. And yeah, so they're doing the right thing. They're stopping at the stop line. It's not an actual stop sign right there. But that one, if there's nobody around, and you can see there's nobody around, to kind of blow that one off. I mean, like when I'm leaving after skating and there's nobody here, yeah. Whatever. But anyway, so she brings them in the garage, and then they go in straight to the table, and that's like a freaking mess. And then I look, and like for some reason there's the bucket of dog toys got dumped on the couch. And the other side has a towel on it, my dad's dirty socks, some wadded up napkins or something, like all sorts of dumb shit. And like I said, I was avoiding those rooms because I'm not the one that's been making them a disaster. I worked on the areas where my stuff is. And my mom starts rushing around trying to clear the table off. It's like, man, it is a shame we did not know we had company coming. Of course, my aunt was kind of laughing at me, but was like, Donito, we don't come over here for you to have to clean your house and blah, 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 and all that fun shit. And she's just rushing around because obviously we need table space because our house is not safe to eat on the couch with dogs. My dogs are thieves. They will absolutely steal your shit. So, yeah. So she got the stuff cleared off. Then I had to take it back to her room. Then I had to move her computer too because it was in the way. And kind of funny though, no more than the table got cleaned, everybody had a seat except for me, which did not hurt my feelings. I tend to avoid sitting with them if I like, it's not an exaggeration when I say I want no part of hanging out with my parents. I actively avoid it at all possible costs. And usually if I'm in the kitchen at the same time they are, I have headphones. And since the aunt and uncle were over, I did not. But yeah. So while my mom's cleaning the table off and, my uncle went into the bathroom, which they also did not get cleaned because that is not the one that I use. I went over and got the vacuum cleaner and threw it out in the garage and moved the dog toys off of the couch. It's like, and the towel and, everything else that, my dad's shit that was over there, I just threw it down beside the couch because not my shit, not my problem. And I'm really tired of cleaning up after people. So I just kind of shifted it off the couch so there was at least a spot to sit if somebody wanted to sit there. And Gracie, I think, was the only one that really cared that I didn't have a spot to sit down in it. And I was like, don't worry about it. I said, I'm going to go finish what I was doing in the other room and I'll be back here in a few minutes. I did finish watching out the last 10 minutes of the video and got it posted. And I hear my mom talking about how I only ever help when she tells me to help. And what was the other thing? There was a whole bunch of stuff, but it was right back into that, oh, woe is me shit. And oh, that's what. When I was in there getting the pizza and everything, she was making a big deal to my aunt about how, now when my dad was in the hospital dying, I spent a lot of time over there with him, and my family's not been very happy about it. It's like, clearly, you don't really realize. I mean, no, she knows what happened. She just likes to play the victim card. So, I sent my brother a message, and I was like, apparently she was not there all the fucking time like we knew she was, because there was literally one night that he was in a hospital that she did not stay the night there. When he was at the rehab hospitals, that was the only time she was able to come home. And like the second rehab place he ended up in, he was in the hospital for 15 days, and then he went to the first rehab hospital and was there for like a month, and then went to the nursing home rehab hospital. And I don't know how long he was there before they tried to send him home, and then he ended up having to go to the hospital. And then, they sent him back to the rehab place, and then on Thanksgiving Day, he had to go back to the hospital because he wasn't able to breathe on his own or whatever, and just all that ordeal. But yeah, she was making it sound like me and my brother are just assholes because her daddy was dying and we didn't give her the appropriate sympathy that she needs or needed and still needs. My brother said that he was talking to her a few days ago and said, he said, I made peace with his death. I spent 10 years mourning his death. And my mom says, how do you spend 10 years mourning his death when he wasn't dead yet? It's like, exactly. Because we were forced to mourn the man's death for a ridiculously long amount of time. My one cousin thought it was 6 years. My brother said 10. It's like, no, this was ever since I was 8. So like 33 years that it's been dedicated to mourning that man's death before he finally did it. So, no. It's really hard to feel bad and want to mourn somebody's death when you've already wasted so many years not being able to live your own life because you had to mourn his death and he wasn't dying or wasn't dead. So, yeah, but I just sat there and listened to her play the victim card for a while, and it's like, I was sending my brother messages, and it's like, yep, she's just eating this shit up. And of course, since she took them in the way that was like the messiest, into the messiest rooms, that, I mean, I'm pretty confident still stink to high hell, even though it's that issue of the more time you spend somewhere, you don't really, like when, okay, somebody else that doesn't live there comes in the house, they know how bad it stinks, right? I mean, it's bad enough when there's like 4 dogs running around, but also the other shit. And yeah. So, keeping in mind, she still did not do anything to help on the cleaning end. And she did bitch at me for putting some things in her room. She said, you have a really bad habit of putting things in my room when you're moving it out of the way. It's like, well, you weren't here helping, so... Which, I would have put it there anyway, because, there were a bunch of, blankets and stuff that she wanted to keep. I was going to throw them in Goodwill, a long time ago. Because they ended up on the floor, they ended up covered in dog hair and dust, so it's like, they're not going in the closet to be put up, but she wanted to hang on to them, so they went to her room in front of her closet onto the floor. So yeah. So anyway, she was all pissy about that. It's like, oops. But for what it's worth, I moved a lot of stuff from both my bathroom and the living room into my bedroom and my office to get it out of the way where guests could go. It's not my fault she made them use the gross bathroom. I mean, she had enough time. She could have hit that real quick before they got there, before they left to go over to my brother's house even. It's like, there was enough time. They could have made it work. They chose not to. But when she got back, and it was just how rough of a day she was having, and my dad was just in a bad mood all day, and, you know, they were fighting a lot, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. Bummer. So sorry for you. So, yeah. So today, well, first, Gracie wanted to crash in my room last night, and this is the first time I've ever let her do that. It was fine, except for the, like, 3 or 4 times I woke up with a knee in the middle of my back. But, yeah, we watched a movie and then went to sleep. And slept a really long time when the dogs... Okay. I woke up at 2 because I had to go to the bathroom, and Taz was starting to make noises at me because he was all ready for his breakfast, and at first I said it's too early, and it's like, we're not even going to mess with that today. Today we're just going to go along with it and feed them and potentially start a bad habit, which I'm not going to feed them before 3 o'clock again, except for, like, last night when the kid was there, because I didn't want them to wake her up. You know, Taz was using her pillow at one point. Got a not very good picture of that, because it's really hard when you're just using the light of the TV. But yeah. This morning, she was all about just hanging out there all day. It's like, yeah, I'm not staying in bed all day, dude. It's like, that's not how I spend my days. It's like, it's nice out there. I want to do something outside. You know, I had other, obviously I want to walk the dogs as normal. I really wanted to skate. Got that done. Had a little bit of a snag because, okay, first off, I got my tiger's eye back. It's a new one, but I got it. So, since that one was a big obsidian rock for a while because I had a regular earring in it for a few days, I decided I was going to see about switching the turquoise and putting it in that hole, but then I had to put something else in that hole. Not having friends is not helpful because I could not get the angle on it at all to get that one. I ended up just sticking an irregular earring in there and having it loose, and I found a place in Newcastle, which was like a 45-minute drive for me, to go get that done. Now, yes, there are a couple places I think closer that I could have gone to, but nothing opened up until like after 1, and it was like 11 o'clock, and I was messing around with it, and, you know, my ears still sore from messing with it at all. So the place, there's a tattoo shop in Greenfield that I looked at, and they said they don't currently do piercings, but recommended this place in Newcastle. Normally I go to the place in Broad Ripple. That's where I got them all done. That's where I've gotten all my piercings done, except for like the bottom 2. Normally I go there. I don't like driving around there, and the last several times I've gone, like, the construction's been terrible, so it's just like, you know what, I'll just go this other way. So I went that way instead, and they had tiger's eye. You know, when the guy I told him what happened, and you know, that I had lost that one at some point in time, and then I decided to try to be brave and switch out the other one, and then I just couldn't get the right angle on it, so that's like, then I needed help, right? Now, this morning, I asked my mom briefly for help. Of course, she's not going to help because I'm not participating by doing everything for her. You know, it's like the little things that I do, even though I cleaned the whole damn living room, and the hallway, and I mean, she doesn't give a shit about my bathroom, but, but because I didn't do, like, everything and made her look a little bad, she's kind of a pain in the ass about it. So, I took the thing and said, can you just stick, well, it was a different one I was going to try. I said, could you just stick it through the hole? That's all I need. And she said, hold on to that for a second, or for a minute. She said, take over on cooking the sausage and let me go poop. And then I will help you. I was just like, for fuck's sake. And I just walked out of the room because it's like I hadn't done anything on the cleaning end at all, period. And, yeah. Suddenly I had to take over on the cooking as well because I asked for assistance on the earring. I just said, for fuck's sake, and I walked away. Now, I did somewhat participate on the cooking end. Like, I checked on it a couple times, just because she kept going to the bathroom. But it's like, and I knew I was going to eat the food, so I didn't want burned food. But yeah, it's like it was a whole freaking ordeal on that end too. And I did not really say anything about helping one way or another, so she probably just assumes that she did it all, but whatever, I don't even care. But I started looking around at the tattoo shops and the piercings, and finally found that guy in Newcastle, and I took the turquoise that I had, and I went up there, told him what the deal was. He said, absolutely. So I said, for the turquoise, I said, I'll just use the same one. I said, but could I get a smaller post on it? So we did get that shortened. So that makes me happy. Yeah, because it's not like all loose like it was before. And he said he'd have to order a hoop because he doesn't have a hoop big enough for that. So I'll probably go back at some point in time. He gave me his card with a couple of the places they get jewelry from, and said they'd have to special order something. So, all right, I'll look around and see what I can come up with, and probably get that figured out. Aside from that, yeah. But I got my tiger's eye back. I said I just put earrings in it just to keep them open. And he said that's usually what they tell people to do, is if you lose it for some reason or whatever, then just put a regular earring in it. It's not the best, but it'll at least keep it open, and it's better than re-piercing it again. It's like, yeah. It's like, I had my belly button pierced once, and then I let it close up, and then I decided to do it again. I'm going through scar tissue, yeah, that wasn't my favorite. I said, although I have debated on doing it for a third time, but then it's like, I let it close up twice, so am I really committed to it this time? It's like, yeah, not at this point. Yeah. But as I was getting ready to leave the house, my mom asked where I was going. See, Gracie wanted to go home at one point because her mom and dad were having their yard sale, and she really wanted to be in the middle of it and help. And yeah, she's not ideal to have in the middle of that kind of thing, but they were already done too, so she was upset about that, but not going to go home because she just wanted to help with the sale, and since she didn't get to help with that, then now, since they were going back and forth about it, I wasn't so sure what she was doing. I knew she was talking about going home, but I was leaving. And when they said, where are you going? I said, Newcastle. And my mom thought I said New Pal. I did not say New Pal. But she was like, oh, can you get me a Diet Coke? And it's like, from Newcastle? She said, I thought you said New Pal. It's like, no. She said, what's in Newcastle? I said, somebody to help me with my piercings. And she said, I said I would help. It's like, yeah. The frustrating thing is, my hair's about due. I've switched to the stuff to help wash it out a little bit more. And these bangs, if nothing else, I gotta bleach these bangs. This is driving me nuts now. But I was thinking, before she goes out of town, it would be really nice if I could get my hair done once more. But at the same time, she's going to be a pain in the ass about it, like she has been on everything else, because I'm not doing everything like I used to do. Then I might just see what I can do on my own, honestly. Because I can handle bleaching my bangs and putting purple in them and calling it done. And, you know, I don't know. The rest of it, I can figure something else out. But I'm kind of leaning on the idea that she will still be locked into wanting to get the pat on the back if we do end up somewhere together and somebody brags on my hair, so she can be like, I did that. You know, and yeah. Oh, but I don't know. Let me put my sweatshirt on. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah. I was thinking it's supposed to be nice this week. And since I have things to do soon that I wouldn't normally be doing, I think I am going to try to skate as much as I possibly can. Pushing my rearview mirror down so the sun's not on me. I just got to remember to put them back. I mean, not like it's going to matter from here to the house, but still. Oh. So I said the thing about, or I said I signed up to do the thing to put me in front of the dude, right? And I pulled these cards yesterday. Now, mind you, I was going back and forth on whether I was going to do this thing at all because it's kind of intimidating, right? And then I had the thought, I wrote it down, that if I had this dream with 3 specific things that came up in the dream, and I remembered it, then I would do the thing, or sign up to do the thing. And then I woke up, and it was basically having a conversation as I woke up, and it was, this is already an opportunity that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Why do you need something silly like a dream with these 3 things when the fact that the opportunity has presented itself at all is still something that would not normally have been there, right? And it was simply because I was, letting the nervous, fearful part of me get in the way. Because that's what I do. And I pulled these cards yesterday. Yeah, the day I signed up to do the thing. Oh, and by the way, my confirmation number had 777 in it. So like when I got an email and that came through, it's like, yep, because I'm supposed to do it, right? But anyway, I pulled some cards last night from the Animal Apothecary Oracle. And the first one, okay, first off, this is something that I noticed as I was writing it down last night. No, I was writing it down this morning. First, yesterday was the 11th. The first card was 10. All of my cards, like if you add the numbers together on each individual card, I had 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 6 was the only one that was not in order. It was like 10, 6, 9, 8, 7. It's like, I didn't notice that until I wrote it down, and then it was like, I even mentioned with, first off, today's the 11th, and I was going to this point, and then I was like, so that makes me think, especially since it started with the 10 card, that it was meant to be the countdown way, right? Because when I was originally thinking about it, it's like, well, is it 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, or is it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? But then, the first card was 10, so it's like, yeah, I feel like that's meant to be the countdown, right? So, yeah. Oh, no, it's back there. I can't get rid of the sun when it's coming in the rear view, or in the back window. But yeah, so that was that. And the first card was this Master Manifester card. And it talks about how, it's this Raven card, and it talks about Spider representing Raven's fear, and Raven realized that he had to accept his shadow side, basically, and his fear, which was Spider, in order to be whole, and, then the thing that he desired would be magnetized to him through his wholeness, right? And then the next card, okay, so the next card was 24, also 6, and it had a lion on it, and it said, "It's in you." And it talked about, the cowardly lion, and how all throughout the movie, he's going on this quest for courage, not realizing that going on the quest at all is because he already has the courage. So he's already got the thing inside him that he was wanting, So obviously these are relevant. And then the next card was, I gotta think of the numbers, because that's there's 27. What is 27? Oh, antelope. It says shake, release, heal, move on. And it talks about how there was a study done with like the antelope, and how, okay, when a predator attacks the antelope, and it goes through like these series of things where like it starts shaking and like bursts out into movement, and in the times that the antelope escapes being eaten by the predator, it's because he started this process of moving before he was even, because fear makes you shut down, basically, right? So he gets this burst of movement that is able, or that helps him to be able to escape the imminent death, if you will, and run away from the predator. And it talks about how animals in the wild do that naturally, and domesticated animals and humans are the only ones that don't like shake off whatever fear or traumatic thing that happened and end up holding it in their system. So it's talking about moving and the importance of movement to get through the fear. And I think the last thing it says is, or the whole thing's talking about how, if you set an intention with movement, so like say you're going to do something while you're running, and then you just start repeating the intention over and over again while you're running, and kind of take it on. It says setting intention with movement creates powerful results. So that's skating. We're back to skating. Yeah. And then little turtle card again. There's small steps, big accomplishments, and it's basically, I can't tell you how many times I've drawn this card in the past like 2 years. But it talks about how making little forward progress every day toward your goal is what will get you there, right? And it leads to even bigger results than you would otherwise imagine or be capable of, because you've put a little bit, you gain momentum as you go. And like this whole thing that I've been doing, this whole YouTube thing in and of itself, like when I started, I was very fixated on the fact that I hated my voice, and yet that I knew that I had to use my voice at some level. It's like, that's a big thing that I know that I'm supposed to be doing, right? So, darn it, son. Yeah, so it's like, when I started doing the thing, I did so much of it, and then I had to take a break from it because that was exhausting, just at how much it required me to expand beyond what I thought I was capable of to begin with. So then, as I'm doing the thing, then it gets a little easier, and I've released so much that I just carried with me my whole life and didn't even realize I was carrying. And that's I think that's a big part of why I like the skating, because I started skating regularly by myself in October and then stopped skating with the roller derby because it's like, nah, I'd rather skate by myself. So skating by myself all the time. And it was November 11th when I finally started on the YouTube thing. And then in December I had to take a break and walk away from it for a while because it was just like, I was completely wiped. And like the energetic work is huge and people don't understand how exhausting the stuff that's going on at the energetic level really is. And like, I don't understand half the time until I spend like a little extra time going through some other things, and it's like, why am I so damn tired all the time? Like, I don't even, like, I talked at one point that I used to have a pretty bad Dr. Pepper habit, and I couldn't tell you when the last time I had one because I wanted to go get one was. I did have one when my cousin was getting moved up here because my aunt got me one forgetting that I had stopped drinking it. And I wasn't drinking it real fast. It's like, yeah, I don't know that my gut's going to agree with this anymore. It never really did there in the last several times I had it. So it's like, I'm pretty sure I'm just supposed to be done with it. I did have some that day, and it wasn't what it used to be. So it's like, yep, okay if I don't do this again. So I will occasionally have root beer, but that does not have the caffeine. So I think the lack of caffeine is helpful as well. But anyway, back to the cards. The small steps, great or big accomplishments. And it talks about how you don't want to rush for the results because what is built slowly stands longer. And fair point. The last card, back to my tiger cards, and it was the Claim Your Power card. And it talks about how that tiger card comes with the masculine energy of taking charge and creating what it is you desire. And it's like, yep. They were just all fit together so well with that. So like today, I was going to write them in my journal last night, and Gracie kept coming in like, you ready to go to bed now? Because she was really excited to be sleeping in my room, since that was literally the first time she's ever gotten to do that. Even when she used to take naps, if I was with her, then we'd go in my mom's room just so it wouldn't be a habit, because as soon as we made it a habit, it was going to be an all the time thing. And I kept telling her, it's like, I'm not sure how the dogs are going to deal with you being in there, because Taz and Gidget sleep on the bed. Gidget ended up moving to the floor. So she was like, safer down here. But they took to it surprisingly well, so that was nice. Taz is where it got complicated, because he likes to use you as a pillow, but then he goes full dead weight on you. And if it's right in the middle of your spine, it's kind of hurt, it's kind of sore and all that stuff. And I think that's part of why I ended up with her knee in my back a few times, is because he was over there using her as a pillow as well. I don't know. But yeah, I think like all those cards. 4444. And it's like my brain got stuck on the 4444. It's like everything hit pause for a second till I registered what I was looking at. Yeah. But like all the cards like seemed really incredibly relevant for this opportunity that I'm taking, and now have to make sure not to allow myself to psych myself out. Right? It's like, is what it is. Whatever happens, we've already set the thing in motion, right? And yeah, I have some other thoughts on that, but I kind of like to. That's a really pretty bird. It's far enough away. I think it's a cardinal, but I can't really tell. But it's very red. It looks more red than a house finch, so I'm gonna roll with cardinal. And I got buzzed by one before I started the video. Yeah. So, on this thing, it's like I was telling Ben, it's like there's a series of things, how I'm seeing how they possibly fit together, and I'm wondering if it's literally fitting together as I'm perceiving it. And I told Ben, all the different things, and he was like very encouraging of it, and kind of go with that. Believe it. And I kept getting all these messages like through various like tarot readings that I would watch and whatnot, where my go-to tarot people, it's like Gem Goddess, White Feather Tarot, Nordic Light, but she's been on hiatus here lately, ESO Tarot, Kino Tarot, Cosmic Kin, Tarot-verse is a new one, and Charmed Intuition Guidance Tarot? I don't know. There used to be one called White Guidance Tarot, but I think she's taking a break for a while. But there have been so many messages from different readings that I've watched where it was like the general consensus seems to be keep doing the things and trusting your instinct and what you believe to, or what you feel to be true, because it's true. It's like one of them was like talking about how you're going to be right. But then still, like, since I'm on the one-sided end of it, it's like I don't know all the pieces, and it's really frustrating because there are certain things I have known throughout my lifetime. One of them was that I was always, whatever I end up doing is going to be largely involved, or using my voice is a big part of it, right? And learning to trust myself has been hugely important and very, very difficult. But it's like I knew that I had to, right? And, as I was trying to build the momentum to do the thing and to trust myself and all that thing, or all that stuff, it's like I just kept getting these messages. And it wouldn't just be from like tarot readings that I'd watch. Sometimes it might be from a book that I'd read or whatever. It's like just the frequency of which I was getting the messages. It's like, yeah, I can't not follow this right now. And it's like literally, everything in my life is points to the importance of me learning to trust myself and talking through things, because it's part of me learning to trust myself. So, yeah. So, I don't know what's happening on the other end, right? What I do know is I had a comment that was seen that I said something about the at least drinking my manifestation water or something. And then the next thing that seemed to come up was there was a live stream that he did, and I signed onto it. And it's like I had just gotten there, and there's a little bit of lag where nobody seemed to be saying anything. Well, once he looked up, and it felt like he saw my screen name and grinned in response to seeing that I had joined the live stream. But then he was gone within 5 minutes or so. And I'm kind of wondering, like, the conversation started going again after that. But it's like, first off, that makes me think that, like, the pause in the conversation was like when I saw the 4444 at the top, because it's like I looked at it, but it's like my brain momentarily checked out while it tried to process really slowly. Like, the numbers did not seem to change until I, like, really registered what I was seeing. So I'm kind of wondering if, like, the live stream thing, the last one, was kind of like that. And when I was talking to Ben the other day, I said, but then that makes me think that maybe because he saw my screen name pop up on the thing, he got the other thing going. Because it's like a little back and forth, right? Just kind of the steps forward, the divine alignment, divine timing, all that stuff. It's like divine timing is when the pieces fall into place because all necessary parts of it are finally ready. You know, and like there's a whole lot of stuff that's been going on lately that's made me think that I wasn't ready. But then when that came up, and I was going back and forth on whether I was or not, and it was like, well, I have to lose, right? So then I signed up to do the thing. Plus, Kino she put out the tarot message this week. Okay, first off, I find it entertaining when I come across the videos that are like ear person type videos and end up, it's like where I feel really drawn to like two piles for some reason. It's like, I don't feel like it's multiple people by any means. But then I end up sitting through one that's like, I'm pretty sure she's talking about me. You know, in one of them, she was talking about, she said she doesn't usually use the word, but the one that was coming to mind was mystic. And she said she was like really strongly feeling that for this person. I was like, yeah, she's talking about me. I'm watching my pile again. And then, you know, she's also talking about hermit vibes and gets the sense that this person has spent a lot of time to themselves lately. It's like, oh, this is totally me. You know, like, I'm doing the YouTube thing, but really I'm sitting in my car talking to my phone. And then I post it and let it be public and go wherever it's meant to go. But that's like little steps on the process and all the same, right? So, and I feel completely different than I did when I first started off, and like my first freaking video was completely scripted because I was scared shitless of what I was trying to do, even though I knew that I had to for some reason. Well, and even then, like, the whole reason it came up was the whole twin flame thing in the first place, because I realized he had to be in a spotlight so I could find him, but then how would he be able to find me? So then we had to kind of roll with it, right? So, you know, I was telling my brother that the other day too, or when I was talking to him about everything, and I said, as much as I've seen things working a specific way for me and pushing me in a certain direction, and it's like, as much as I've changed It's like, there is no doubt on my mind, or in my mind, that there is something to this connection. And there's fours again. Because it's literally been the thing that has moved me every step of the way. But then going back to that piece of learning to trust myself, because, my entire environment that I've grown up in and had to move back into and all that, it's like, I talk about that shit pretty regularly. It's like, this is like tedious bullshit, and no wonder that I never trusted myself. But like, even that, like, it's necessary for me to be able to do the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing, that I learn to trust myself and start talking one way or another. So it's like, oh no. But then that also makes me wonder some of the things, because I also set the intention that he would know who I am and who I am to him. It's like, I phrased it when I was like thinking it to the universe and putting it out there that way. Two separate things, right? That he knows who I am and who I am to him. But there's like another piece to it where it's like, has he already found this? And I've talked about that on here before. And I think it was after the live stream, the last one, that I was wondering about it on. And I was just like, oh. No way to know right now, I guess. But yeah. Oh, so, and then like for the other thing, like the keynote reading, she was talking about how it's like, she said there's part of it that is coming through as something online. And she says, I see you trying to make the decision on whether to do something or not. And then finally being like, you know what, fuck it. And, hitting the button. And then it's like, that sets other things into motion. It's like, my head just started buzzing. It's like, what kind of things are we talking about here? First off, then I go and like draw these like cards that are specifically, seem to be pointing me in this direction. Keep doing the things. Stop trying to psych yourself out on the thing, because that's how you've been in the past. Embrace the fullness of who you are, right? Embrace the, even the fear. And yeah, that's kind of interesting in and of itself too, because as I've been like working through that, and as I was skating some of this out of my system, skating gives me clarity, releases some of that chaos. It's like, I don't know. Feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing though, but but like even that hesitation the other day, and then it was the realization that this is an opportunity. Why would you not take it? And who knows what the next opportunity would have to be, or when that would even come about, right? So it's my 819 again, which I've seen like 3 times in this one. But yeah. Yep. So Josh from the Swamp put in the request to have a story on the best day of my life. And I've spent a lot of time trying to think on this one, because I really just, it's like a day. I don't know. What I come to is this. I don't think it's so much a day. I think it's just a general time period. I've said for a long time that I'm glad I don't have to go back in time and relive anything, but if I had to go back in time and relive something, I would go back to my last year in undergrad, where I was living at the Baptist house, which, obviously I'm not churchy anymore, but the friends that I had that year, and, my roommates were awesome, and I got to a point during the school year where it was almost like, I told my housemates at one point, it's like, I feel like I have a hug quota. Just like going around and hugging all my roommates a lot of the time. And I mean, they were all cool with it, and it's fine, but it was like, what I was thinking about today was, it's like, that was the time frame in my life where I felt the most energetically safe. And because of that, it's like, we used to have some like crazy conversations. I would get back from school and Darren and Chris would be playing video games in the guys' lounge, and I'd just go in there and hang out with them. And, it's like we were, as other people would come in, they'd trickle in, and then we'd just be sitting there having conversations. It's like they accepted me in my, I've talked about the negatives of that year on here several times, but in spite of those, it's like they were a safe space to go to feel the feelings, and didn't make me feel like shit about feeling really shitty about things. Chris and Darren used to make fun of me, which, not in a bad way. Kind of just, they used to joke around, because that was the year that I decided at one point that I basically hated guys that year, and they would joke around about me going to weddings and sniping the happy people. It's like, it would be like just stupid stuff, and they'd just be laughing their butts off, and it would make me laugh because it was like the whole thing was just absurd, and we all knew it, but it was like, it was like attention release kind of a thing. And I have no problems with people making fun of me on, for legit stuff that is appropriate to make fun of me for. And with them, it was safe enough to have that existence, and not to feel like they thought I was a shitty person because I was having these heavy feelings. Whereas, with my family, then it's like I was too much and all this stuff. So it's like, and we did really crazy things together. I mean, it's just like stupid shit. This other housemate, Keith, he was a med student, and at one point he grew out this real bushy beard, and he decides one day that he's going to shave it off. But it becomes this thing where there was a group of us, I think 4 of the girls and Keith, he was like shaving into different styles, like, and we'd take like silly pictures, and like at one point he had like the Amish kind of got rid of the mustache, and it was kind of just the that at one point we did something with like goth. It was just like a series of dumb things. There was another day where I still got some of those pictures randomly too, but well, they're all on Facebook. I should probably print them off, because one day I'm sure I will probably get rid of Facebook, but for now, we're still there. But there was another day where I was really excited to go home for Christmas break, but I wanted to be able to show off the house that I was staying in, because it was a badass house. It's not every day you get to live in a freaking mansion. And I was like, I want to take a video, but I'm not going to talk. Back then, I was terrified of using my voice. So it's like, well, I need a tour guide. And so Keith agreed to do the tour guide stuff. We're just walking through, and he's talking about it, and he'll insert silly stories about silly made up stories. But we used to joke that the basement, there were the entire basement, I think, had the ceiling painted black, and like there was a couple rooms that the walls were painted black, and there's this little this itty bitty little door that was kind of high up in the wall, and we used to joke around about how that's where they hid the bodies. And yeah, but like Keith did a really badass tour for me to bring home. It still shows up on my Facebook periodically too. Not often enough, but I always tag everybody for the trip down memory lane again. But like at one point we went, there was this balcony thing, had a little deck sort of thing, but it was on the second floor, and it had a couple, or stairs. There's like, I don't know. It went back and forth. So we were out there, and it had like snowed a ton, and he gets really serious because there was something about how much junk and how run down the house was, because I think the American Baptist Association had it since like the 60s when one of the Ball families had donated it to them, and it became a housing ministry. And at one point, I think there was like an old mattress in Box Springs that was on the deck out and been snowed on and everything. It's like, we never really gone out that way. And it's like, what the hell's out here? And kind of exploring weird shit. There were holes in the roof, and raccoons living in the attic. And at one point during the year, God, there were so many weird animals that got in the house. When I moved in, I stayed in the house that was closest to the upstairs kitchen because I was living there over the summer for a few weeks by myself. Well, I had a couple roommates living there, but we all had all had our own rooms. And since I started out a few days by myself, I wanted closest to the kitchen so I could get my food and go lock myself in my room, and that was it. Like I would try to lock the house up, be inside before dark, haul ass up to my room, go get whatever food I was going to do and then just kind of hide out in my space. And it worked fine. When I first moved in, the room that I was staying in, the bathroom for that room had two doors, obviously. You go in one, it's from the bedroom. You go in the other, it goes to the kitchen, or to the dining area. To where the kitchens were. There were like two up there. One was a full kitchen. The other had a microwave, a sink, a fridge, and just some of those odds and ends. But the bathroom had a praying mantis that was like this big on the ceiling. It's like, that's pretty cool, but I don't want it in my bathroom. So I had to catch it and take it outside. But that was still kind of cool. Not something you get to experience all the time. We had one night after all the housemates moved in. Chris and I were pretty tight because we were both Joneses. And then Elizabeth was going to be marrying a Jones, so she was pretty tight with us as well. But we used to have Tetris tournaments on this big, we had an overhead projector, and like we pulled the screen down and we would watch movies, and Chris and I, we were into country music for a while at that time. We would watch CMT's Top 20 Countdown, and we'd have our own commentary. And we had this one night we were doing this, and like the projector screen goes in between there's a big couch. I was sitting on one end, he was sitting on the other end, and then the projector was going like through the middle. And then there were two other couches that were, facing each other, but by the by the screen. And as other roommates had started getting back home, there ended up being a group of us that was just watching this show and like having dumb commentary. And it starts getting dark, and we don't turn any additional lights on, so we got like the projector screen. And I think Darren had the hall light on. It wasn't directly connected, but you could still see with that light. And we're sitting there, and then we all just, there's this sense of, what was that? And it's like there was something at the top of the screen, and all at once it like turned, and it was like it came out of the screen, and it's like, huh? And then it loops back, it goes like around the room and comes back and does it again, and we realize there's a freaking bat in the house. So then it sets a bunch of people on a mission to try to get the bat to get it out of the house, and some of us were afraid of getting the bat in our hair, so we just went and hid out and let the guys handle it. But it was, that was exciting. And it didn't matter if you put it outside. It came back another time. Well, we don't know if it's the same one, but we had at least 2 bat incidents that year. One day I came home and I hear Darren say, "Oh, there you are," and then take off after something. And it's like, I start following him. It's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, there's a bird in here. It's like, a bird! It's like, I like birds, but I'd left my door open and I didn't want it on my pillow. So, yeah. So I don't really have like just a day, but I had, that was the whole just random series of things. My happiest time frame in my life, I think, was 1/11/11, was that year, and just those people, because it was like the year it was safest to be fully me and that not be a problem. Even though there were little things in the outside world where it was occasionally a problem, but then I could come back to the space with my housemates, and it's like I wasn't only the problem anymore. Like we had other fun things, and so I'll have to get back to you if I think of a day, but it's like I feel like there's just been so many things along the way where I got so hung up in the negative that was like the time frame that there was least preoccupation with the negative, and was able to focus on the good elsewhere and have good. So that's always fun. But yeah, there's that. And plus it was one of those things, like, it was like the American Baptist Association was responsible for the house, and, we had to go to the weekly Bible study thing, which, we all would do that. A bunch of us would go to church together on the weekends, but we'd still do the random things. We had one girl that was doing belly dancing classes, and she would occasionally miss the Bible study to go to the belly dancing thing. It's like, okay, but, and then I had like the swing dancing stuff that I did occasionally, so that was another time, or another space that was kind of fun in there. Started that my junior year, I think, and continued my senior year. For that one, there was, so there's this place downtown, Fountain Square, that has swing dancing, and that they were doing it like every Friday night. I think they still do it. I don't know if all the time, but back then at least it was every Friday night they would have their swing dancing stuff. And so a group of the people from the swing dancing club at Ball State would go. I think I went like twice, but it was one day we go there, and there was a big group of us, and of course we went to Ball State, so we're up in Muncie, and then just like a little over an hour drive and all that fun stuff. So we go to the place, do the dancing, afterwards decide we want to go to Steak and Shake. Get to Steak and Shake, it's like 1:00 in the morning. And, we park in the parking garage, because it's downtown. Excuse me. And we go in, have our food. As we're getting ready to go, the guy that I had rode over there with, him and his roommate and there were a couple other people. We're talking about leaving, and Justin realizes he doesn't have his keys. He's like, I don't know where my keys are. Apparently, he was really bad about losing his car keys because his roommate happened to have an extra for it, because you never know when Justin's going to lose his car keys. And we go to leave, and it's like 2:30 in the morning now. And we go to the parking garage, and, we have no idea where Justin's key is, but Andrew's got a copy of it, so we're at least going to get home. As we get to the car, he not only left his keys in the ignition, he left the car running, and none of the rest of us knew that he didn't have automatic locks, so the driver's side was the only one that was locked, but his car had been running downtown for an hour and a half in this parking garage in the middle of the night, and didn't get stolen. It's like, dude, you have no idea how lucky you are right now, because we all did not realize you did not have automatic locks. So, yeah. Anyway, those are my good times. But I guess I'm going to go home and take a shower and find something to eat. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Yeah. As always, I appreciate you. Until the next time. See ya.